The hill of Tara in County Meath is often referred to as the spiritual heart of Ireland. It was known as Tearnaree, Tara of the Kings, and 142 kings were said to have reigned there from the Bronze Age until around 565 AD. The stories of its earliest kings are more mythological than historical, and in fact the association of royalty with Tara really begins in the hoary mists of prehistory, when legend tells us of a divine race of godlike beings who ruled Ireland. They are the Tuatha, and their chief figureheads are associated with building some of Ireland's oldest monuments, most notably the great passage mounds of Brúnaboinne, which are located just 15.5 kilometres or 10 miles northeast of Tara. One of the great symbols of Tara's association with the kings is the Lia Foil, the Stone of Destiny, which today sits atop one of the earthen mounds at Tara called Onfora, which means the royal seat. It originally stood close to Duan O'Neill, the Mound of the Hostages, which is a Neolithic or Stone Age passage tomb dating to around 5,000 years ago. Lia Foil is said to be the coronation stone of Ireland, and legend says that when the rightful king placed his foot against it, it would scream aloud. But who was the first king of Ireland to rule from Tara? To find out, we have to go all the way back to the mythological cycle, which takes us to an unknown early epoch of pre-Christian and indeed prehistoric Ireland. An ancient tale called Ca Mai Tura, the Battle of Moytura, tells of a great struggle between the Tuatha and their enemies, the evil Fomore or Fomorians. The Daedanans fall under the oppression of the Fomorians and have to pay punitive taxes to them and carry out menial tasks not befitting divine beings of their stature. They are forced to go to war with the Fomorians to secure their freedom. The king of the Daedanans is Nuadu Aragatlov, Nuadu of the Silver Hand. Nuadu received his curious name during an earlier battle with the Firvolg, in which his arm was chopped off. Kings could only rule if they had no blemishes, and Nuadu was forced to vacate the throne in favour of Bress, whose intentions were hostile to the Tuatha. It was during Bress's reign that the Tuatha were placed under tribute by the Fomorians, and things took a considerable turn for the worse. However, the Daedanans had a plan to restore Nuadu to the throne, one involving bizarre and wonderful feats of magic and healing. The Tuatha physician Dian Cecht made a silver hand for Nuadu, which functioned like a normal human hand. Meanwhile, a famous poet of the Tuatha, Corpra, son of Etain, made a satire against King Bress. Satire was a deadly device in the early Irish myths, and was often more powerful than battle or conflict. Corpra said that Bress's prosperity no longer existed, and there was only ruin and decay on Bress's reign after that. Soon Nuadu was restored to the kingship. He held a great feast for the Tuatha at Tara. This is the earliest mention in mythology of Tara's association with Kingship of Ireland. The story belongs to an unknown hoary age of the past. During the feast, a handsome, kingly-looking young warrior arrived at the gate of Tara. The doorkeeper asked him to identify himself. Lugh Lunanshclech is here, he says, the son of Cian, son of Dian Cecht, and of Ethna, daughter of Balor. The doorkeeper asks Lugh what art he practices, because no one without an art is allowed to enter Tara. Lugh says he is a builder. "We do not need you, we have a builder already," says the doorkeeper. Lugh says he is a smith. "We have a smith already," says the doorkeeper. "I am a champion," says Lugh. "We have a champion already," replies the doorkeeper. Lugh says he is a great harpist, but he is told, "We do not need you." "I am a warrior." "We have a warrior already," comes the reply. Lugh lists all his skills one by one. He is a poet, a historian, a sorcerer, a physician, a cupbearer, and a brazier. But as he professes each of the skills, the doorkeeper tells him that Tara has one already, and there is no need of him. However, Lugh tries one more approach in order to gain entry to Tara. "Ask King Nuadu," he said, "if he has one man who possesses all these arts. If he has, I will not be able to enter Tara." The doorkeeper entered the royal hall where the great feast was taking place, and told the king of the young warrior. "His name is Samildonach," said the doorkeeper, "and he practices all the arts which help your people, so that he is the man of each and every art." Nuadu said that they should bring the ficial boards of Tara to the young Lugh, but he won all the stakes. Finally, realizing that no one possessing all the skills and arts of Lugh had ever come before to Tara, Nuadu bade his doorkeeper to let the young warrior in. But this was not the end of the challenges facing Lugh to gain entry to the royal court. Lugh was issued with a challenge by the champion Ogma, who threw a giant flagstone out of the hall so that it lay outside Tara. This stone was so enormous that it normally required 80 oxen to move it. But Lugh was able to pick up the stone and throw it perfectly so that it landed in the centre of the royal hall. Then the young Lugh played the harp for 3 nights. On the first night, he played sleep music, which caused all those who were at Tara to sleep for the night. He then played sorrowful music, which caused them to cry. Finally, he played joyful music, so that there was much merriment and rejoicing in Tara. Having seen the warrior's great skills and talents firsthand, King Nuadu held a council with his druids and wise men, and the decision he reached thereafter was to exchange seats with Lugh. So the king vacated his throne for the space of 13 days, allowing Lugh to sit there in his place. These were the first kings of Tara, according to our earliest myths, Nuadu Aragatlov and Lugh, who was given the sobriquet Samildonach, which means one who is skilled in many arts. These days we would call him a polymath. Lugh went on to perform a vital or crucial role in the Second Battle of Moytura against the evil Fomorians. After the death of Nuadu, who had held the Kingship of Ireland for 20 years, Lugh became the new king and reigned for 40 years.